Welcome back. In this video, we will be creating part 2 of our calculator project, which we started creating in the previous video. So we already used the scanner class to scan for the first number and the second number. So in this video, we will be asking the user for an operation. But before we do that, there's one thing we should change in our code. Right now, the user can only enter whole numbers because we are using integers. So we should change the integers to doubles so that the user can enter decimals as well. So let's change first number and second number to doubles. And then in the first number and second number methods, we will have to use scanner.nextDouble instead of scanner.nextInt. So this way, the user will be able to enter decimals as well as whole numbers. So now let's look at how to ask the user for an operation. So let's add some more print commands to tell them what to do. So let's print choose an operation. And now let's add a few more lines which tell them what operations are available. So the first one will be addition. The second one will be subtraction. Let's just copy and paste this line. And then the third one will be multiplication. And finally, the fourth one will be division. So now we are asking the user to enter a number 1, 2, 3, or 4 to select which operation. So at this point, we need to create another field. Let's create a private static int operation. And let's also create another field for the result of the calculation. So private static, this one's going to be a double, and let's call it result. Now in the main method, let's give each of these two fields an initial value of 0. So operation is equal to 0, and result is equal to 0. And now let's add an operation method. So we're going to call the operation method right after these print commands. So let's use the Eclipse shortcut to create the operation method. Let's just move it to be after the other two. And let's make it public. It doesn't have to be private. So now the next step is to set the operation field, which is an integer, to the next integer in the scanner, the next user input. So operation is equal to scanner.nextInt. And now we need to check what the value of operation is. And we're detecting for 4 different values. So what would be the best way to do that? You guessed it, the switch statement. So let's add in a switch statement. So switch operation. And now let's add 4 cases for the 4 different values. So case 1, case 2, case 3, and case 4. So if operation is equal to 1, then it's going to be addition. So then we need to set the result to first number plus second number. In case 2 is subtraction, so first number minus second number. And in case 3 is multiplication, first number times second number. And then 4 is division, so result is equal to first number divided by second number. But that isn't all that we're going to put in the switch statement, because remember, we have to put a break statement at the end of each case, otherwise it won't work correctly. So let's just add a break for each of the 4 cases. And now let's add a default case as well. So in the default case, let's print an error message. Because if the operation isn't one of these 4, then it must be invalid. So let's use system.o.println to print invalid operation. Before we run this program, there's just one more thing we have to do, and that is to print the result to the user. So that's going to be system.out.println. Let's print result plus the result variable. Okay, so now we're ready to run this. So click on the run button. And now it's asking us to enter the first number. Let's enter 12. And the second number, let's enter 15. And now for the operation, let's choose multiplication, so 3. And it prints 180, which is the product of 12 and 15. Let's just add a few finishing touches here. So firstly, we don't need to print the first number and second number anymore, because we know that it's working. And secondly, let's add a title to the application. So we can do that at the beginning of the program here. So let's print calculator in all capitals. And now let's also print a line above and below the title to make it look a bit fancier. So to make the line, let's just use 10 hyphens. Now let's go ahead and run the program again. And so now it prints this nice looking calculator title at the top. So let's enter the first number. Let's make it 150 this time. And now let's make the second number 70 and choose subtraction. And so the result is 80. Another nice feature would be if the whole program loops, so that you can do multiple calculations without having to rerun the program. So how can we do that? Well, let's use a do-while loop, so that it will always run at least once. So the start of the loop should be here, where it tells the user to enter the first number. So just before that, let's add do and the opening brace. And then, at the bottom here, after it prints the result, we can add the closing brace. And now we have to insert the while statement. Let's just make it while true. And Eclipse also has a shortcut to indent all the lines of code correctly, to make it easier to read. So the shortcut is Ctrl-Shift-F on a PC or Command-Shift-F on a Mac. And it indents all the lines of code like that. So let's run this program one last time to test that the looping works. So for the first number, let's enter 23. And now let's enter 12 and choose addition. And now it asks us for the first number again. Let's enter 8 and 2 and division. And now the result is 4. And if we enter an invalid operation, that's not one of these 4, it prints invalid operation in red. So in this video, we finished creating our calculator program. So I think that's enough for this video, and I'll see you in the next video.